It's really, really easy to get lost and to get overwhelmed and to drive yourself to a burnout. And I was right there these past couple weeks. And I went back, I reevaluated these. We're going to talk today about their buckets of our life. And you have no idea what I'm talking about right now, but you will in a second. Just to find that balance and to keep our sanity and to still enjoy what we're doing as Beachbody coaches so that we have that passion and we can pour that into our challengers and into our teams and just really, focus there instead of being in burnout mode. So we're going to do a little activity this morning. So why I am talking about just some announcements, you are going to need a piece of paper. So hopefully you brought a notebook or something with you. And if you have handy, some crayons or markers would be great too. If not, you can go back and color code later. But you definitely need a notebook and a pen this morning. So just a couple announcements. Remember, guys, this is the last month of these amazing challenge pack promotions that have been going on since August. Literally pretty much every program in the book is on sale for that $140 price. And you cannot beat it. You have Country Heat, 21-day fix, Fix Extreme, Pile, Hardcore, 3-day refresh, you name it, it's probably out there for promo this month in October. So use it as your advantage. Last chance, follow up with people you talked to back in August, back in September, and say, hey, like the clock is ticking. These programs are not going to be on sale for that awesome price next month. I didn't want you to miss out on a great deal. Would you be interested in learning more about my October challenge group? Bang. And sometimes you have to use the promos to your advantage in that way. So don't forget to do that. They are valuable in that follow-up, and they're valuable in your invite as well. So just make sure that you don't miss out on this opportunity to take advantage of some really great prices to get your challengers started right. Remember that you're out here. Our job, our mission is to impact and help as many people as we possibly can. And hey, you have something amazing to offer them and something amazing to offer them at an amazing price too. Don't forget to share those price breakdowns with them. Make them see the value in that challenge pack. I mean, guys, for the $140 price, they're getting an entire workout program essentially for the price $10 more than just Shakeology alone will cost. Okay, so keep that in mind. You can put that spin on it. That 3-day refresh challenge pack is awesome too. They get you get a month's worth of Shakeology, which we know is $130 as a customer, and then they get the whole 3-day refresh for 10 extra bucks. It's like a $70 value. So I mean, that too in itself is amazing. So don't forget about sharing that with people. It's not icky. Just share with them like what great deal they are getting. So make sure you're sharing those things and taking those promos to your advantage. Just a shout out, it was only the 6th of the month back on Thursday, and we already have some amazing leaders with points on the board. Congrats to Allie for already hitting Success Club. That's amazing. And also just some special shout outs this morning to some rank advancers. Lindsay Maloney is now a 1-star qualifying diamond. That is a huge, huge milestone in her business, and in just 6 weeks she'll be qualified for 1-star official. And also congrats to Danielle B and Danielle S for hitting Emerald this week. Does also an amazing first milestone in your business. I'm so proud of you ladies. Just keep up the awesome work, keep building, be an Emerald factory, keep on recruiting, and just be you. You're doing amazing. So great job today. All right, ladies. So before I move on to our time management chat, does anyone have any questions or comments or concerns from the week that they want to chat about before we move along? Anybody? All right. Well, if you think of something, you can put in the chat bar, or we can talk at the end. Time management. So using your bucket list. So like I said, when I was over at Destin, I learned this training from Jeremy Redd, and what we do is you're going to take your life, you're going to think about life, all the aspects, your priorities in life, and we're going to put them into 5 buckets. And the point of this is to really refine a start and a stop time for each of your life priorities, and to get, first of all, just to identify what our buckets are. So we're going to name 5 buckets, and I'll tell you how to do that in just a second. Then you're going to give each bucket a color. Okay, so we're going to make it really fun and colorful. And then you're going to think about, well, how much time do I give to each of my priorities on a weekly time allotment? So how much time do I want to give to, you know, for example, in my buckets, I have my personal time. I have my school and my job. Like, those are just 2 of my buckets. Like, how much time do I have to put into those, or do I want to put into those every single week, so that you can prioritize where you put your time. And then you select within each one of those buckets, we're going to talk about how you refine into 3 to 5 top activities that you must get done every day to really maximize each bucket. Okay, so I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen with you, and I'm going to show you. I just want to see your faces and see that you're doing this with me. So what you're going to do is get out a blank sheet of paper, and I have mine here from Dustin, but I'm going to just do it along with you this morning as well. So get out a blank sheet and your notebook or whatever. Alrighty. And I'm trying to find a blank sheet. Sorry. Okay, what you're going to do is at the top of your page, you're going to just draw, like, and it can just be like, it could just be like a square. You can get as creative as you want. But first of all, divide the paper into 5 columns. 3, 4, 5. Okay, so you probably can't really see mine very well. Okay, let me get a pencil or a marker. So you divide them into 5 sections. All right, everybody got that? And then what you do is at the top of each section, you're going to make a bucket. And do it in pencil first, because your color coding is going to come into play next. So you're going to put 5 little buckets at the top, and you don't have to get all fancy spancy artsy. It can just be like a square. That's about as good as my bucket's gonna get. So don't worry, don't stress out too much. Just put a little square there. Then you need to name your bucket. So I'll give you some examples. I'll just tell you what mine are. Mine's my personal time, so time for myself, like me only. Okay, so we'll talk about what that means in a second. My other bucket is my husband. If you have a family, it might be your family time, it might be your kids. You know, you might have one for your kids and one for your husband, because that's important too, you know, to have family time and then just husband time. That's up to you. My third bucket is my job or my school time. So I kind of meshed my job and grad school together for mine. And then I want your last 2 buckets. This has to be your last 2 buckets. Your Beachbody personal business. And then your last bucket is your Beachbody organizational business. And we'll talk about what all those mean in a second, as far as personal and organizational. All right, so now what you're gonna do is just give each bucket a color. Okay, so my personal bucket, I made teal personally. So go ahead and now you can get colorful. And if you don't have crayons or whatever, you can just maybe write colors down that you could make them later. All right, my husband bucket is blue. My job and school bucket, I'm making red. Beachbody personal is purple. And my Beachbody organizational is orange. I'm reaching for all my markers here. So I'm fun. Jerry has like little eyes, like, why, Mom, are you coloring things? It's like, oh, it's fun.
He's going, oh, purple.
Yeah,
oh, purple,
Mom. All right. So now I'm just gonna give you like a second, and it's kind of weird, but you need to be thinking on your own for a minute. And when we were at Dustin, we all sat in a room and it was silent and it was so weird. But so we'll have some weird moment here for a second. And what you're going to do is, now remember what I said earlier, that we have to now prioritize the top 3 to 5 activities that you must or want to get done every day in that bucket to maximize your time or to really, like fulfill yourself. So I'll just give you like an example. My personal time is my workout, because that's me time. Okay, that's 30 minutes I give to myself every single day. And then just my workout, so that's 30 minutes a day. And then I actually put my commute in my personal bucket. Why? Because that's when I do my personal development every day on audio. So that's an hour a day for me. So even though I'm driving and it sounds like that's a work task, I'm actually driving. So the commute is my 1 hour a day for myself, honestly. And then I wrote in here too, just sleep. Because we're going to talk about in a minute how we don't want our buckets to bleed. And I find that, if you're not prioritizing sleep in your personal bucket, then you might be, you might let other buckets bleed, like your Beachbody personal time. You might bleed into your personal time and take away from your sleep. So that honestly is in my personal bucket. So now what you're going to do then is that's just me though. Your personal time might look different than mine. It might have different amount of time in a day. Okay. And for me too, like finding time to go shopping or like relaxation, things like that, like a pedicure, that's personal time. And that doesn't happen on a daily, but like I did put that in there just because I need to make sure when I plan out my week, which I'll show you how we're going to take this to plan your week effectively in a second, that is going to be something that I do put in there. Okay. So Chelsea, just to catch you up, everybody else is kind of writing in there, 3 to 5 for each bucket. What we did, we're talking about maximizing our time and using time management, and we're using these 5 bucket ideas. So what you have to do is, here, I'll show you the picture, Chelsea, real quick from my screen that I show everybody. What we're doing is naming our 5 buckets, and I shared my example. I have my personal as my first bucket. My husband time is my second. Job and school is my third. And then the last 2, I told everybody to make their Beachbody personal business time and then their Beachbody organizational business time. And what you do is you just divide your piece of paper. If you want to grab a piece of paper from your notebook or whatever, divide it into 5 columns and then name each bucket at the top and give each bucket a color. And then what we're all doing right now is identifying the top 3 to 5 activities to maximize each bucket every week. So what are the top 3 things that you need to do every week? Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Sorry. It was like super speed description, but I want you to get caught up. So does anyone want to share? We kind of shared a little bit at leadership, like what our buckets did look like what kind of activities that you put into each one. So does anyone want to chat about, the things that first of all, what your buckets are and what you think your 3 to 5 activities need to be in each one to maximize your time? Does anyone want to? We could start with personal. So, because since I kind of gave you that example, anybody have something that they want to share that they threw in personal time? Go ahead.
Okay. Mine is actually pretty similar to yours.
Yeah. And we found that out, Dustin. Like everyone's kind of looked and sounded the same, which is okay. That's good. We all live a similar life being coaches. So.
Okay, so for me, my personal is obviously my workout. And my commute also, I utilize that for my personal development, but mine's a little bit different because I don't listen to it when the girls are in the truck. So I'll drive my first half hour up there, and then my last 10 minutes to work, I'll listen to it, and then my 10 minutes back to pick them up, I'll listen to it while I pick them up, just because there's some things that I feel like they shouldn't listen to necessarily just yet. So I kind of try to keep that out of the truck when they're in there.
Because you don't want it to bleed into your girl time, your time
right.
with your girls. So that's very responsible of you, Jerry. That's great.
So, and then obviously sleep, which honestly I didn't even, when you first said that, I didn't even think about putting that in there, but it really is important because let's face it, we're all dragging ass a lot of the times.
Yeah, and that's like probably my biggest hold up in my personal bucket is that sleep. Like like when you're forced to sit in the car for your commute, like your personal development happens. And then product of the product as a Beachbody coach, like we do our workouts and we enjoy them, and that's really important for us. So that's really important.
Okay, and then I wanted to share my family time too. Like for me, dinner is a big one, which I struggle with a lot actually, because we are on the go all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So when we have soccer, like sometimes that gets pushed to oh, hey, there's some hot dogs. Let's go ahead and throw those babies on the grill. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's a big one right now, and we're going to start slowing down. So for me, I'm going to take an hour every day, and with an hour, obviously there's things that cook a little longer than that, but with our prep, yay, we can make it happen in an hour. And then for me, it's homework, because we have kids and homework is a freaking priority. As they get older, that's going to change. Trust me. Right now, kindergarten homework, you can breeze right through that. Yeah. Obviously, you're a teacher, you know.
Yeah.
And then me putting the girls to bed is definitely a big one for me. That's when we read our books. That's whenever we just, do the wind down. So I'm going to give that 30 minutes.
That's awesome.
Every day, so we can read their books, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And then after that is when I like to spend time with Jacob. So that's a big important one for me too. And sometimes that gets pushed to the back burner, which I know it frustrates him. So that
I know we all talked about that at Summit a lot. How, they're frustrated. And then when they're frustrated, we feel guilty and bad, and it takes away from us. So husband time is something that I think that's my personal, and my husband time is what I'm working on the most personally. So that's my hardest struggle. So, well, it's not, my personal time isn't really hard, but it's like, it also gets on the back burner. Like those things that you enjoy doing, like watching TV, shopping, things like that, like that's last priority a lot of times. But it's actually should be like, evenly distributed, so that you're using your buckets wisely every week for your sanity, honestly, for your sanity. So, what was I going to say? Another thing that Jerry reminded me of, like planning out your meals and meal planning, meal prep, like that's personal time too. That goes in there. Like you're not really, for somebody with a family, you're doing it for your family too, but that's getting you set up to be able to manage your other buckets for the rest of the week. So that's really an important one to have on there too. So I'm glad you brought that up, Jerry. That's great. So I'm just curious, for your Beachbody personal and Beachbody team time, I think a lot of times we get confused which is which, and which comes first? Can someone tell me which needs to come first?
Personal.
Yeah, exactly. Organizational, meaning your team. So your personal business needs to come first. So what do you view as your top 3 to 5 activities in there every day? Someone want to throw them out there? What do you think are your top, would be the top 3 to 5 activities that you need to do every day?
I'll speak again.
Oh, Jerry. Someone else speak up. Let Jerry, but then someone else talk. Go ahead, Jerry.
Okay. For me, obviously your power hour. And if you want to break it down, we all know our vital behaviors. So for me, during my power hour, I always do my connecting, my inviting, and my follow-ups first. As soon as I log on every day, that's the very first thing that I do. And actually if I had to really break it down, I go through my follow-ups first.
Mhm.
Because with Teamsy, if you're utilizing that, like that's that nice little red button that pops up like, hey, you need to follow up with these people. So that's the first I do. So I do my follow-ups, then I'll do my connects, and then I will go through my invites. And sometimes those coincide.
Yeah.
If somebody's popped up that you need to send an invite to, you hadn't talked to for a little while, like that kind of thing. So that's what I do. My personal development, we talked about, that's part of my commute also. So that's kind of already checked off and done before I even sit down to do my power hour. And then I will, after I make sure all of that's done, I will go ahead and log into my Beachbody account and check my back office. And then after that, I go and start into my groups. And sometimes, honestly, that's where I get cut short. So I might, run out of time to log in and check in with all of my groups. So I'll go back throughout the day. Like I have 15 minutes waiting on the girls doing something, or we're waiting for soccer to start. That's where mine gets broken down. So so I try to get everything done that I need to move my business forward. Right. And then I go back into my groups.
That's awesome. Awesome. So Chelsea, how about you? What would your top 3 be? 3 to 5.
Yeah, I'm right there with Jerry. I like her idea of doing follow-ups first. Sometimes I stall out on connections and invites because I get frustrated. So I think starting out with the follow-ups and people I've already been talking to potentially, that would help me like get a flow going. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a good idea to hit those 3 things. Mm-hmm. And I, for some reason, tend to like throw PD in this time like bucket. Even though sometimes I do listen at work, but I find like I'm most productive when I can listen and just, like, take some notes.
Yeah. Right.
Actually get some content out.
So you're putting it more into action. That's good. Yeah. All right, cool. And then how about your organizational business? Like what kind of things do you think would lead that bucket? So for me, it's the recognition piece. So recognizing my coaches, talking with my coaches. So like through team calls, one-on-one calls, anything like that. Creating and delivering the training opportunities. So like running training groups for my coaches, like that, I don't put that, like that's not part of my power hour time. Like that's more like a second, you know what I mean? Like that's not priority. I need to be reaching out and helping new people first through the personal bucket. And then when I have then I go into that organizational time and I develop new trainings, or I, seek out new ones, and then I deliver them and I check in with those groups. And then just creating. So for me, it's my team calls, recognition, and then training, or not even training, but just like working with my coaches. So does anyone have things that are different there as far as organizational? And, if you don't have a team of coaches yet, you can think about, well, I could still recognize, right? And I can still be a part of team calls, and I can still, be a part of training groups. Like that's still organizational. I mean, yes, it's helping your personal business, but things like that, those activities are, or how you're going to develop a team. So does anybody else have anything else to add to that, or just comment on that?
I have a question.
Yeah.
For like, what bucket do you throw in, like emailing your new challengers and like,
for me, challengers are in my personal bucket,
right?
Because they're still challengers and they come first. So and new coaches too, because they need a little bit of extra message. They might need a message every day, like, hey, how you doing? Like, how can I help you? That I have in my personal time, because it's still new people. And, my groups are in my personal time. So as far as my groups, like my challenge groups and my, sneak peek groups, things like that are my personal time. Free event groups, personal time, because those are always to connect to people and to, honestly, you turn challengers into your coaches. So like, that's kind of like, challenge groups, I think, need to be your personal time, because they are just so like vital to your business, and they should be your number one priority in your day. So in your personal time, after you are reaching out and hitting Teamsy and hitting your power, I think they need to be a part of that personal time. All right. So now, like, where do you go from here? Because you want to make sure that you are now implementing that time allotment you put on these things, implementing those buckets, making sure they're all a part of your weekly schedule, but a part of them in an effective way. So that they don't bleed. So we learned from Jeremy that buckets don't bleed. You need to have a start and a stop. And it might mean that you have a timer going, and when that timer goes off for your personal time, you're done and you're going to spend time with your family. Or, when you're on date night with your husband, and Jordan and I started doing this, and it was amazing. Like, and we've been talking about how we need to do it forever and ever, but we literally just both left our phone in the car. And like, we went to Mexican dinner and we just sat and we had a good conversation. And it was like, oh, wow. And it was only an hour. And you know what? When we got back in the car, we could have our phones. Like, that's fine, because we just had a whole hour of amazing conversation, and we were happy and we felt good. And so if you're in your blue bucket with your husband, if you're sitting on the couch watching TV, don't put your phone on your charger and leave it in your bedroom. Like, don't, just disconnect. So you need to kind of find ways to have that start and that stop to make it happen. And I just wanted to share with you what I did last week, and it helped. And I have to kind of preface this by saying, like, this is not going to be perfect starting out. Like, this is going to take some time to get used to and to really implement. And, you might need to go back and reevaluate. Like, there's things that I'm going to revisit when I make my schedule for next week and just tweak it, because I realized, oh, you know what, Jordan and I didn't spend enough time together this week. Or, you know what, I let my personal business time bleed big time into my work time for my grad school classes. So you just need to, like, plan this out, give it a try, let it run, and then you just realize it's a work in progress along the way, and you might need to reevaluate where you're spending your time. So what I did, oh no, hang on, I clicked the wrong button. What I did, I was trying to, and of course I clicked iMovie. Okay. Sorry guys, I'm going to just share my screen again with you. I use Google Calendar, and I really love it so far. And what I did was I took those buckets and I took my colors and I just made a calendar here on Google. And it's really nice because the things that you do daily, you can click, like if I do here, okay, my personal business time. So I do that from 4:30 in the morning to 5:15 a.m. I wake up and I get up, and I have a description here even. I check into my messages, so that's what I hit first. I go to my messages. I see who has messaged me back since I turned off business hours the night before. I check into my groups, and then I do connections. I send out happy birthday messages, and I also do my connections in the morning because it's really a no-brainer. I don't have to think a lot. I'm able to hit that connection circle on Teamsy, quick, easy, and I'm able to get it done. And then I also add new friends. So I go into different pages and find people. I find people that, I just have a ton of mutual friends with in the little drop down box. And then I also add in my new contacts to Teamsy, which takes a few minutes from the day before. So I just go up to that, add friends button, and it tells you who accepted your friend request, and I go through that list and I add them into Teamsy. So that's what my morning looks like from 4:30 to 5:15 is those 4 activities. So it's very that's all I do. Like, I stick to that and I go. So I clicked my color. That's my personal business time. That's my purple bucket. I click save, and it pops up. That's Sunday. It pops up right here for that time slot in my Google Calendar. And then after that is my personal time in the morning, and it's really teal. You can see these colors are a little off because if you look over here at Saturday, they're not done yet, but it shows you where you're at. So all these things are done for the week, so they fade in the calendar, but it's just kind of cool because you see. And then I shower, I get ready for work. That's my workout, shower, get ready for work. That's my personal time. Because showering and your hygiene, it's important to your personal life. So make sure you do that. And then I leave the house at 6:30. to about 7, it's not quite to 7:15, but it's like more like 6:40 to 7:15. I'm commuting to work. I'm doing my personal development. That's still personal time. Then you literally put, if you're working, and for me, I can't do Beachbody inside of this stuff. So when I'm working, I put on here 7:30 to 3 p.m. I'm at work. And then, like, for instance, last Monday, I had a faculty meeting after school from 3 to 4:30. And then I had some extra little time at school before our PTO meeting work that I was required to stay at. So I had to write that in there for work time, 6:30 p.m. But I squeezed in beside here. Now, I told you my job and my grad school bucket were the same, but I do add a little, this other color for grad school, just to help me, like, know when I need to be working on certain tasks for grad school. So I worked on an 11-page paper. Didn't get it all done, but I worked on my paper between the faculty meeting and my PTO meeting. So I used some time wisely there. Instead of just like sitting and chatting with people at work, I sat down and I closed my classroom door and I worked on my paper. Then I hop back in the car. There's my teal bucket. I have my commute to work, which is my personal time, personal development. And then, guys, like, this kind of is the hard part now when you get home. I had in here that I had dinner with Jordan, which we did. We sat down. We always are really good about that. We sit down and we have dinner. Something that we've been doing lately, though, is removing the phones and just having like 30 minutes together to sit and eat and talk. And then I moved into my personal business again. I needed now, if you click on this, I needed to do my invites, my follow-ups, my evening check-ins. Like, that all had to get done. So if I go back into Teamsy, I haven't done all my circles yet. I have to do those invites, those follow-ups, those evening check-ins. And then I put on there to watch The Voice. And guys, I'm going to be honest, my bucket's bled this week. I didn't have that done by 9 p.m. to watch The Voice. Granted, The Voice also starts at 8 o'clock, but I was going to watch it on, DVR or whatever. But I didn't do that on Monday night. I worked till 10 p.m. on my personal business. And that is something I need to fix and change for next week, because I lost out on, watching The Voice for me, that's sitting next to Jordan on the couch. That's not only personal time, but that's my husband time. And that it drives me crazy that those two buckets bled. And I'm not, I'm a human, and I need to some nights sit down and watch some freaking TV. Like, let's be honest, like, I know, like, a lot of times we hear coaches talk about, like, well, I don't watch TV anymore. Like, that's a sacrifice I make. And you know what, guys? Sometimes sacrifices are going to be made. But I think for my sanity lately, I need to make sure that I am watching TV a couple nights a week and doing fun things a couple nights a week, because it's important. And if you don't do those things, you're just going to be burnt out and you're not going to enjoy what you're doing anymore. So no, I'm not saying to blow off your business and to just like forget about it, but you need to make sure that you're just utilizing these buckets and those time allotments a little bit better. So I'm obviously not going to go through the day by day of my life with you all, but just make sure that I would just kind of urge you today to try this Google Calendar thing out. It's really easy. This took me probably like 15 minutes last Sunday to throw together. Once a lot of these things repeat and you redo every single day as part of life, like work, the personal business in the morning, my workouts, like those things, I just click Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and that just happen every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So, creating this, it looks like a big old crazy mess, but it's super simple to use. And one other thing that I love about this is that you can share this then with someone else. So, except I don't know where to share. Oh, wait. Okay, here we go. So you can share this calendar and check out who I share it with. I share it with Jordan. so that he knows, like, all I have to do is share it off to him. And he actually like utilized it this week. He's like, oh yeah, I know you have your call. Actually, it was funny. I changed our team call time, and he was, from Thursday night to Saturdays again. And he goes, hey, you have a call right now. Why are you on your call? I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, you have your team call Thursdays at 9 p.m. Why aren't you on your call? I saw it on your calendar. And I'm like, oh, and I had to tell him, like, I actually switched up to Saturdays. I need to go update my calendar. And he was like, oh, okay, that's cool. So, like, he really did pay attention to it and use it. And I think that communication piece, if you are, one of your buckets is your significant other, then make sure then you can share that with your significant other, or you can share it with somebody else on the team to keep you accountable. You could share it with your whole team if you wanted, so they know what your schedule looks like for the week, so they know when organizational time is and they know when they can reach out to you. So just some ideas. And I hope that, we could all maybe utilize this and help us really just like be focused. And I hope that it was helpful today. Like I said, it's a work in progress. I was nowhere near perfect. Last week was really the first week that I started to give this a try and created that calendar and gave it a go. And it wasn't completely a disaster, but it wasn't perfect either. But I realized that, what, this really does help me, and I need to keep continuing to do this. And it just gives you peace of mind and direction for your week ahead. So was that helpful? Yes? No? Maybe? Yeah. Good.
Honestly, so like that calendar, I didn't even realize you could do a Google Calendar. That's
Isn't
how far
cool?
behind
And, like, I just try to utilize Google as much as I can because everything's right there for me. Like, my Google Drive is like my sacred ground almost. But I just think too that being able to share it with others is important too. So yeah, and it's really easy to use, just like everything on Google. So give it a try. I really encourage it. All right. Does anyone have any questions about the buckets or about Google Calendar? Like, I can show you. I'm still kind of learning it, but we could work through it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What do you do? And I know this is going to happen because I've already added up all my little time allotments that I have. What do you do whenever you're exceeding 24 hours in a day?
Yeah. So I guess that's the hard part. Like, you can see, I mean, like on Monday, I'll go back to my calendar. Like, I didn't have, like, what I just showed you guys. You'll notice, like, Beachbody didn't happen on Monday. Like, I didn't do, I checked into, like, the Diamond group, but other than that, like, I didn't do anything organizational-wise. Like, I like, checked in with Coach. I guess I kind of do because of Teamsy. Like, it encourages you to, like, message your coaches. But I didn't do those other activities. So I guess, Jerry, like, there's just some days where we have those extra commitments with our kids, or, I don't have kids, but for you, like with your kids, like you might have like something extra going on at the school or whatever. And there might be some days where you make sacrifices from other areas to put more time into another bucket. And you have to realize that that's okay too. Like, we can't get trapped into feeling guilty when we're off doing something else. Like, I was talking to somebody the other day and I'm like, I set aside this time to like go get a pedicure. And what do I freaking do in that damn pedicure chair? I'm on my phone and I'm checking into my challenge groups. I'm messaging people. Like, that is like, you know what I mean? Like, I have to stop feeling guilty for going and spending more time, in that other bucket for a little while. Like, you have to stop feeling that guilt. But then, like, when you're doing your business, like, you feel guilty because you're not spending time with your husband. And so it takes, like, you have to work on getting over that guilt factor. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying, like, I'm not telling you that because I'm telling you that from, like, my heart, because I know that's where I'm coming from. Like, that is my biggest struggle, is to, like, put that start and that stop on certain things and realize that some days there's sacrifices made and some days, like, you don't do all your activities. And that's, like, an okay thing. Like, you have to breathe and realize, like, you know what, going to my kids' PTO night or, book fair or whatever is a lot more important than, talking to a challenge group right now, and you have to eliminate that guilt. So Does that answer your question? I mean, I totally there with you. Like, there's some days where I'm like, I don't have enough hours in the day actually to do all this. So
Well, that's where I struggle. Like, which I guess I don't really struggle, but the guilt, you're right. The guilt gets me where like, I'm working on my business and feeling guilty because something else is getting put to the side, or
right.
I'm, with the kids, and then I'm like, oh, I need to do this, and it's like running through your head like a hamster wheel.
Yeah, I know. Or you're just like out, like trying to have fun, and you're like, oh my God, I could be doing this right now. Or like, I should be doing this. And we have to get over that, I think, a little bit. And maybe as far as your time, maybe you could refocus it, Jerry. And I'm thinking for myself too, maybe that's like the amount of time total you need to spend on that a week. Like maybe you want to say personal time, I want to spend 10 hours on myself a week or something. Like I don't know if that's a realistic number of hours. I don't know. I'm just like throwing that out there. Or maybe like I want to spend 5 hours a week just on my organizational business. And you know what, you might work, like for me, like, and I think this maybe works better, and I'm going to kind of rethink my hours, because like this morning on Saturdays, like I set aside time in my week. Like I've always been kind of doing this, that Saturday mornings are my organizational time. Like I get up early and I do my personal time, and then I work out like I do during the week. But then like from 8 a.m. to noon, like, and Jordan's very, very, very helpful here. He like knows, like Saturday mornings until noon, like I'm going to be down in the office working on my business, and I work on team time. Like I'm going to be working on everything that is organizational based this morning. So like that's like 3 hours of my week that I work on organizational. But you know what, Monday through Wednesday, it might not happen at all. Do you know what I mean, Jerry? So maybe like if you and everybody, maybe if you think about the time allotments more on as far as like throughout the week, how much time you want to spend on each bucket total, maybe that would help instead of focusing in on the day. Because there are days where we just can't do all 5. But if you put in a little more time another day on something, that works. So now that being said, make sure that you get your like 1 hour at least a day to do your personal business, like, because you need that consistency in your personal business. If you're not consistent with your Teamsy or your messages, your invite, your follow-ups, then you're going to see the effects of that. So, you have to think it through about how you're using those buckets. All right. I hope that was helpful, and that you guys give it a try and realize that, it's not going to be perfect, but, just to help you guys just keep your sanity, but reach success like you want to. All right. Okay, let's all work on it together. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Saturday and your week, and you take maybe today or tomorrow to plan it out and to use that Google Calendar. If you want to share them on our team page, that'd be great. Just everybody here, or if you're catching the recording, we can keep each other accountable and kind of follow up with one another on how it's going, and take advice from one another too about how you're managing your time. Just like Jerry's question came up, like maybe we can help each other stay accountable and really manage our time wisely to be happy and fulfilled people, right? All right, guys, I hope you have a great day. I'm going to go ahead and end the call. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, have a good one.